Hi everyone and welcome. If you're here, you probably love creating custom content for BeamNG, or maybe you're interested in learning how. Whenever you're an experienced Blender user or just getting started with BeamNG content creation, you're in the right place. Today I'm excited to introduce a tool that I've developed to make your material workflow between Blender and BeamNG simpler and more efficient. I've imported this car and the tool automatically applied the shader nodes and the geometry nodes to store each material's information. It compiles them in a way that closely resembles how they'll appear in-game, allowing you to work more seamlessly when designing materials with Blender. This tool is available to Patreon supporters, whose backing helps me keep developing and improving resources like this for the community. By the end of this tutorial, you'll see how it simplifies importing and exporting materials for BeamNG, saving you time and enhancing your workflow. So let's get started. To install, you want to open Preferences, Add-ons, Install, navigate to where you have your add-on zip file that you downloaded, install add-on. This will take a few seconds. Enable. Here you have your main path. This is the content to the Steam Apps common BeamNG file. And then as for your mod path, that's in your user folder. And then as for your target directory, that can be anywhere that you wish to store all of the converted material files. Your target directory is the place where the program will store all of the converted image files. Every time you import something, it will grab all of the required image files and convert them from DDS to PNG and put them here. So the first thing that I'll show you is how you can take a GLTF from BeamNG and import it using this add-on. In game, add your app, the GLTF one. Export, and then this will take a few minutes. Here we have Rock Bouncer and the GLTF. Now in Blender, import GLTF. Then export as collider. You can put this anywhere. I'm gonna put it in my target directory. Do not copy texture options. We won't be using that. Then once it's done, open a new scene. Don't need to save. I'd recommend having the console open because this will take a few minutes. We're going to import collider with BeamNG materials. Bouncer. Here we have it gathering all BeamNG materials. So what this is doing is finding every single JSON and compiling them into a single file, which will be in your temporary. Now it is converting, so we can witness this happening here. A rock bouncer, and as you can see, all of our PNGs popping up. Almost done. Yep. Now that's done, we have the model imported. So first thing to do is go to render and change your device to GPU. go straight to rendered mode. There we have it. As you'll notice that all of the colors are white, so I'll demonstrate how you can adjust that in your geometry nodes. BeamNG materials, we have this specialized node, which is much like the one that you would find in BeamNG color selection. By default they're 1, that's a little bit too high. So there we have it in here ready to go. So with a model that you have extracted from the game, for example, I'm going to use the East Coast building. Want to import the BeamNG materials. So it also supports non-PBR type materials, but as you can see, there's an issue that this is a problem with vertex colors, which is easy to solve, which I will need to show you. So each LOD has a different attribute for vertex colors. So to see this model, we're going to have to select the highest LOD vertex color attribute. This one here, connect that to your vertex color. We also want to do the same thing for the roof tiles. So you want to pick the highest LOD, the 250, and give it some light. There. You can also export the JSON. If you leave the texture directory empty, then the directory that will be used will be sourced from the nodes itself, the path of this image file. If that structure is correct, then you don't have to include this. If you do include this, it will overwrite and use your own directory. So I'll do that in this case. Now if we go and look at our main material JSON, we can see all of the materials were read directly from Blender itself to create this. So we can go in here and we can modify these tags, for example, the geometry nodes. If we want to modify the wood, we can put that here. Material tag 0, and we can export it. Load, you can see that it has red Blender, and you can see all of our directories are test. And if we were to leave it empty, then it would use the directory of the path that it is. So it's based on the keyword, either levels or vehicles. I'll now walk through the process of making a material from scratch. So First thing you would need to do is create a modifier, give it a geometry node, name it BeamNG materials. It has to be this, it's case sensitive, this name exactly. In the future I might make this a little more convenient. So in here we're going to want the bare minimum material data node. The bare minimum for this is to select your map to and give it a name. We can tick a bunch of this stuff. Yep. Now we can move on to shader editor window. I'm going to replace this default shader with a single stage BBR to surface. We can give it a factor of any. We can give it a value. And then we can export. And so there it is. To use vertex colors, first we must give it a color attribute. Make sure that it is a face corner and bright color. Set it white by default. Add an attribute node and give it the same name. Connect the color to your vertex color. Now we can real-time manipulate vertex colors by going into vertex paint, and we can draw vertex colors. We can subdivide this to have more vertices. Now we can upgrade to a 2-stage if we want. So we just want to swap these. It take a little while to compile sometimes. Now what we can do is draw a opacity map. So to do that we can create a new image texture. Keep it non-color. Opacity maps on the first. We'll add transparency. So wherever we put white, currently we need to set the render engine to cycles and use blend mode alpha blend. We can swap this opacity to opacity map 2. Now, instead of making it transparent, we'll be able to see, or we'll be able to control the positions of the two different stages. So stage 2 is currently just a white color, as you can see. So we could give that one an RGB, for example. To use the color palette, we need to ensure that we use a UV map node on the color selector. We want to make sure that we use a color selected geometry node. So you have from top to bottom RGB. The color palette map itself will use those 3 channels to map out where each color is positioned. Then we will need a new image texture. This will be our color palette map. That will go color palette map 2. Now we can make it red. We must also remember to connect alpha, since alpha transparency also controls the presence of the color palette map. By default it's usually the first UV, but we can specify it here. As you can see now, the color selector is working, but since we only have a red color for our color palette map, we can add some variation. So at the moment green is green. We can set that to whatever. Just like so. Now when we export, red X color, we got the base factor. But since we have not saved the opacity map, as well as the color palette map, we will need to save them. That should have fixed it. Now let's say that you just want to use an existing material. Well, first thing you would do is pick one in game. And once you've done that, you will need to go to your temp in local. In here you'll find like a temporary name about at that length. Here you have combined materials JSON. So this, you can use Alt 0 to collapse all in Notepad++, and here we have every single material in BeamNG, all in one place. So let's just choose Italy building metal. We'll name our material to that, and then export and import it with the add-ons version of the collider importer. And you can see that it has gone ahead and grabbed that material for us. I believe something has gone wrong though. So nothing has gone wrong. It is just a small quirk with this material itself. So this material is defining a detail scale and detail normal map strength, but there is no map. So there is no problem. These are just mistakes in the original content of the game, but no drama. So there you have it. You can add as many materials as you want, rename them, modify them, all the information for that material is in here. Thanks for watching.